Hey traders, welcome back to my channel where we don't just create expert advisors and indicators, we unlock the full potential of MQL5. Today, we are tackling a topic many traders talk about but rarely understand: gigantic candles. People keep shouting the phrase gigantic candles, yet most struggle to actually identify them, and doing it manually is almost impossible. Like this gigantic massive bullish candle you can see here. In this video, I will show you how to detect gigantic candles using your own custom criteria in MQL5. And the best part of this is that we will achieve this with less than 80 lines of code. So stick with me till the end. I promise you will walk away with solid practical knowledge. Now let's dive straight into coding. Here we name it candle size filter. Yeah, I think the name is good. Next, finish. Here I just clean up the code and paste the other section. Yeah, let me clean up the code. Delete, next, delete. Now we compile. Yes. First, let's define the program name. Let's set it to file name. Let's compile, no error. This means anywhere we use this dev prog name for object, it will automatically be set to the EA by file name. Next, the input settings, input group candle filter settings. Here you enable the user or whoever that is going to use this program to make his own settings to select the maximum body size of the candle that you want to detect. Input and max body. Yeah, I think so. Let's set it to 100. And we want at first initial maximum candle size. So that means this program will detect any candle whose size is above 100 points. Any candle size that is above 100 for now at this initial state. Next, input in time frame. Let's name it time frame. No, let's use input time frame. I think that here we set it to period D1. H1, sorry. Time frame for EA to run. Next, we make provision for arrow code setting. Arrow code int arrow input arrow code. We set it to 253. Yeah, arrow code. This will be used to select the arrow code that you want. As you can see here, this is the list of the arrow code, and here we shows 253. Yeah, this is it. 253. This is what we want to use at initial state, but you can select from this list any arrow code, any arrow that you want to use for your display or visual support. Next, we get we make provision for input arrow color. Yeah, I think let's use a color. So we don't want to hard code anything here. Color red. Let's use red. Arrow color. Let's compile. No errors. No error 01M. Next what next? MQL rate. Yes. Let's work on the rate structure that we will use to get historical data. Here we create a static array, we compile, no warnings or errors. Next, let's get to our custom functions. First, we create a function that will tell us that will detect new bar formation, because we want to only search for a candle whose point or whose size is greater than the one we specified, only when there is a new bar. So we name it new bar for TF, I think. Yeah. Change symbol in time frame. These parameters will enable us to use this function to detect new bars for whatever time frame, like throughout our program or any project you are working on. Maybe you want to detect at some point, you want to detect for H1 1 hour time frame. At some point you want to detect for 4-hour time frame. These parameters we are creating now will enable us to do that easily. TL static that time, I think. Yeah, last bar, no, last bar equal to 0, that time, current bar equals I time. Here we use the input and the parameters TF shift 0. Next, if last bar is equal to 0, that is first use at initial state. If last bar is equal to 0, that is when you launch the EA on a chart, this last bar is initially 0, and we don't want to falsely detect a new bar at initialization. Last bar equal to current bar, then we return false. We don't want a false detection of a new bar at initialization. Next, if last bar not equal to current bar, if the last bar time is no longer equal to the current time, that means a new bar has been formed. First, we update the last bar variable equals to current, then we return true. In this case, we return true. Next, we return false by default. Let's compile. No errors, no warning. Now let's go to the untick function. Let's say if not is new bar, if there is like if a new bar has not been formed, your symbol, no symbol, input time frame. If a new bar has not been formed, then return. If there is no new bar formation, do nothing. The line from line 30 and 31 will only be operated on if there is a new bar formation. We compile, no errors. Next, let's create a function that will check the bar. Check the bar. Let's bool check candle body. Let's check the size to ensure to know or to detect if the size of the current bar being analyzed is greater or less than our maximum specification or criteria. String symbol in time frame, I think. Name it TF. In time frame, what is index? The index of the bar to analyze. Then max size. I think we are good to go now. Max size, yeah, no. Integer, yeah. Yes. Max size. Now let's use the copy rate function to copy historical data. If copy rate symbol TF index, we want to copy count 1. Yeah, I want to use 1 because our global array we sized it to 1. We only want the data of 1 candle at each time. Count 1, our rates array. If copy rate is less than 1, then return false. That means if this copy rate function fails to copy the data of 1 candle, then we return false. Next, we calculate the body range of body range for math absolute rates. Let's rate 0 dot open minus rates 0 dot close. And yeah, this will get not all control path return a value. Yeah, that is just, let's leave it for now. It's not something that will bother us. This we just did here will help us to get the size of the currently analyzed bar from the open down to the close. You don't want to analyze the wicks. You just need the body size, the main body size, not the full candlestick range. You just need from the open to the close. Next, we get the body points. Let's convert the body range to point values in order to analyze or to compare it with our maximum criteria. which is the max body that we added to the input settings. Body points equals to body range divided by point. This converts the body range to point value. Now next we just return body points greater than max size. We compile, no errors, 0 warning. So all this function does is it checks, it analyzes a particular candlestick at whatever index you input here, and then detects if that particular bar point is above our criteria, which is 100 points with the input. Though you can still change it, from the input settings. Let's go back to the untick function. Next, if check candle body symbol period input, okay, time frame. Now here comes another thing. Most programmers or beginner programmers will think that they have to loop through past candlesticks. You keep looping and looping and on and on. No, but there's a simple approach to that, a simple mechanism you can apply, which is here at the index. You use index 1. Maximum, you use max body. Let's compile. No errors. Using index 1 here means if there is a new bar, we analyze the past bar, the last completely formed bar at index 1. The current bar that has not closed will be at index 0. Then the previous bar, the last completely formed bar, is at index 1. This enables us to detect bars. Once there is a new bar, we check if the previous one is above or below our criteria in order to detect or to draw arrows as we wish. So there is no need for to loop through past bars, to continue looping and looping. Now let's continue. Next, let's create the last function, the last procedure. Yeah, this is the procedure. Let's call it draw arrow on bar, parameters, string, symbol, time frame, time frame, let me see here. Next, you need a prefix, string prefix, yeah, I think so. Next, index, the index of the bar, the position of the bar we want to draw an arrow on. Next, let me make this a little bit clearer or something. I think this should go color. The color, just name this CLR. And lastly, we need one more thing. Yeah, arrow code. Arrow code. I think we are good to go. This is a void function, a procedure. Let's compile. No, 0 errors, 0 warning. Now first, the copy rate. We use the copy rate function again. Copy rate function. No, we use the parameters tf index count 1 into, we want the data to be stored into a rate array. if this less than 1, same check that we did earlier, then return. That means do nothing. We compile, no errors, no warning. Next, we reset last error. Next, we get the price at which to draw an arrow. Price, let's name it price, equal to, how do we get this price? No need for if else condition. Let's use ternary operation. If, let's say, rate 0 but close is greater than rate 0 but open. What we are doing here is that we want if the bar that we detected to be above our specified criteria is a bullish bar. We want to draw an arrow by this side below the candle. But if it is a bearish candle like this, we want to draw the arrow, we want to create the arrow above the candle. This is something we should do to kind of differentiate between the buys and the sell. Yeah, let's try it. That's if the close is above the open, that means it's a bullish candle. If it closes above where it opened, that means it is a bullish candle. Next, we want to use rates. We want to draw it below the bullish candle. That is below. And we will use a price offset for this. So that the arrow will not be drawn within the wicks or the body of the candlestick. We want the arrow to be created in a separate part, somewhere a bit far from the low of the candle or the high of the candle, depending on the candlestick. Here we do low minus 10 times point, I think so. Low minus 10 times points. Let's do the same for the bearish candle rates. Here we'll make use of the high because we want to draw it above the bearish candle. Rate plus 10 times point. Let's compile. No errors. Next, we get a name. We get a unique name for our the arrow to be created. How should we do this? String arrow name. For the prefix, the parameter here plus let's do this way. Let's do this way. I think rates but time. Here we generate a unique name for the arrow using the prefix, the parameter here, and the time of the bar time. That like this will enable us to avoid name collision and others. So have unique name for each arrow on the chart. Each arrow will have their own unique name based on the time. And next, let's check if this name exists already on the chart. if there is an object on the chart already by the name, but it's rare. I don't think it's not so, but this is just a check that we are supposed to do, because we can actually meet some obstacles or some difficulties on the way, but using the bar time enables us to avoid it, because each bar, no bar on the chart has same time. No, each bar has their own time, its own time. Now let's do object find for current chart. Arrow name, we search for an object. If there is an object on the chart, we don't want to create another one. We want to avoid creating another one. How do we? Not equal to 1, no, -1. Yeah, no, we just want to return. So on line 75 here, we are just searching for an object on the chart that has this particular name we just generated. If object find on the main chart with the arrow name is not equal to -1, so this function returns a negative number -1 if it is not found. But if an object by the given name, by the specified name, is found, it returns a value greater than -1. So it returns something like 0, 1, or 2, or the other. So if it is not equal to -1, that means it is greater. We don't want to create an arrow. We only want it to return -1. So from line 76 will be executed only if the object find condition returns -1. Next we create our object. If not object create, let's do this. Object create main chart, object name arrow, object arrow, sub window 0, time 0 point time. The price, we use the price. If object creation failed, then we want to print no, this is not it. I think, function failed to create arrow, I think, then error equals last error, or we can still use get last error. I think, get last error, anyone you find with something. Now we want to return. Let's compile. No errors, no warnings. So here we only do a simple check. If the object creation fails, we print the function name. In this case, we will draw arrow on bar. Failed to create arrow. Error equals to last error. And it is because of this check that we called this function. We will set whatever be the last error in order not to collide with this current one or something. What next? Let's set the properties of our object, which is the object arrow. Next we do object set integer, I think so. Main chart, object name, arrow name, object, let's set the color obj prop color to whatever they call, whatever color we use as argument here. Next, object set integer. What is wrong with that? Object set integer. Main chart, arrow name. Let's set the width, the size of the arrow, obj prop width. Let's set it to 5. I think 5 is bold enough. 5 will be bold enough. What next? Object set integer, I think 0 arrow name, obj prop arrow code. Here we just set the type of arrow we want to be drawn. We want to draw on the chart. Like I said before, you can choose anyone here. You can specify 38 if you want to do just any arrow code that you want. You can specify it using the input settings. Back to the code. Let's compile. No error, 0 error, 0 1. Let's go back to the onTick function, and here if candle check, if check candle body returns true, that means the size of the candle is greater than whatever we specified. Then we want to draw an arrow. Draw arrow on bar, symbol, no, input time frame, yeah. Prefix, we use the program name, index 1. Color, what do we do there? Color, we use, yeah, input arrow color. Yeah, we have that. Yes, we have arrow code, input arrow code. Yeah, I think we are good to go. Let's compile. No errors. Let's go through the code again. Let's run it back. There's a feedback there, I think. Yeah, I almost forgot. Objects, delete all. We want to delete all objects that was created on the chart using our dev prog name as prefix. Current chart dev program name, so that whenever the EA is removed from the chart, the chart will be clean as before. We just clear the chart, compile. On init, yes, I almost forgot this. In on init, we need to do some check and a check or something. If max body is less than 10, return init field, I think so. Return init field. I almost forgot this. Is there any other check? We compile, no error. So here we ensure that the user specify, like select a valid number. Not that the user will now select like the max body to be 0 points. That means almost not almost every bar on the chart will now carry arrows. We will now have arrows being drawn on them. What next? Let me go through the chart again. Hope I'm not forgetting anything. Delete all is new, but let's show the quick backtest, run a quick backtest, a quick backtest. What's going on? Why is this lagging? Okay, yeah, it's loading. So let's get this vision now. Let's clear it in order to see the print function if we have any complication on the row on our way or something. You got to be fast, bro. Oh, we missed something. Something is wrong here. Why drawing on this? No way. We missed something here. Candle size filter, weekly time frame. No, we wanted to. Okay, this should be the issue. Here we selected 1 hour time frame. Then at the settings we should also select 1 hour time frame. Because I'm sure we are good to go. I'm quite sure of that. Now we are on 1 hour time frame. Yeah, we are good to go. Be fast, bro. Be fast. Yes. Whoa. Okay. As we can see, the arrows are drawn neatly. Not neatly. If you look closely, you will see that there is an error. Not an error, just I intentionally did that to was to learn something here. Yeah, let's take for instance here. You will see for this bullish candle, the arrow we showed was drawn neatly below it, but for bearish candles it was drawn within the wicks and sometimes comes into the candlestick body size. Yeah, and now this is the crucial moment. You need to pay close attention in order not to miss out on the most important technique here. I think this is the right time to explain the offset technique. But before then, you can actually solve this problem here with just a little changes. Let's do some changes here. Yeah, let's use point. Let's use a value for the bearish like 40. Let's compile. Let's run another back test. This simple change, back test. This little change we did now would change the performance of our program a little bit faster, so we can see this one. Yeah, and now we can see the arrow is now drawn a little bit far from it. Plus 40 times points is now drawn a little bit far, but this is not the most, like, this is not something you should do, because if you run this particular program now on a higher time frame, let's say the daily time frame or the weekly time frame, you will see that it won't perform well. It won't draw arrows clearly, it will draw the arrows within the candlestick body. This technique we just applied here is said to be a static method, because this only works for lower time frames and others. It only works for lower time frames. It will malfunction depending on the time frame it's being applied to. But don't panic. There is another approach we can bring in, but let's start with its roots first. Let's start with its roots. Where do I start? Okay, let's start here. And its root is what we call offset. Offset. Now, what is offset? Offset is the distance you move a graphical object from a reference price. Offset is the distance we move a graphical object, like what we just did, our arrow, from the reference price, which is either the low for the buy for the bullish candles and the high for the bearish candles. I will introduce you to two offset techniques. One is fixed. One is fixed offset. Fixed offset, which is what we just used here. This is fixed as it does not high plus, as it does not work properly on a variety of time frames. Then there's another one. What is it called? Candle range. Yeah, I think candle range offset. This involves working with the size of the processed candle. This involves working with the size of the processed candle, whatever candle we are processing. So let's make few changes. Let's make few changes to the code to see the code logic and how this candle range offset actually works. Let's see how is this. How could we do this? Double candle range. Let's get the range of the candle. Equals rate 0.high minus rate 0.low. The high minus low will give us the range of the candle. Next, we use low minus, let's say 0.05, which means 5% times 5% of the candle range. And here we use, let's say 25%, 0.25 times candle range. Let's compile. No errors. Let's stop the strategy tester first. And now let's run a quick back test. Let's see how it actually runs. Come on. This is on the 1 hour time frame, on the 1 hour time. This our value, let's work with 1 and 40. I think that was the best. 0.1 and 0.4. No, yeah, 0.1, not 0.01. I think if create arrow price, let's see, 1 hour time frame. Come on, let's see what you've got. Let's see what you've got. Let's see what you've got. Come on. Why is this low? Let's see the anti-closing. This is best. If not is nearby for time frame, return. You can actually change it. Let's work with this. Let's see what is actually wrong with this guy. If is nearby for time frame. Now here you can see the arrow is now drawn clearly on both the buy and the bullish and the bearish candlestick. Let's stop here. See this far enough from the candle. This is far enough from the candle. You've seen it. Let's move back. Far enough from the candle. Far enough from the candle. Yeah. Let's stop this. Let's stop the strategy. Let's compile. Let's run this on the daily time frame to see what it will look like. Daily time frame. D1 settings. D1 daily. Let's see what our program will look like. This is drawn neatly though. Drawn neatly, far enough from the candle. The reason why it draws like it creates so many arrows is because the daily time frame, when you want to work with the daily time frame, you should specify a higher range, something like 200 points. Let's use this bearish candle now. How many points? 300. So let's use something like 250. In the settings, let's use 250 here. 250. You can also change this arrow code. Now let's work with which one of these should we work with. I don't even know, like, but let's just choose one. Let's choose one. Okay, let's use 254. 254, close to our normal settings. Let's use 254. 254. Come on, guys. Come on. Okay. Let's show the big word to go. Nice. On the daily time frame, let's see. As you can see, the candles that it created objects on previously on our last test, it didn't, because we specified a higher range to be checked, a higher criteria, which is 250. And I think that one is good for a daily time frame, because in a day it calculates the whole range, the body size of the candle in a day. And now here we have we have an arrow drawn on the chart, neatly drawn, far enough from the low, far enough from the candle body. Let's wait for the cell, because the cell do malfunction, as we saw with the fixed offset, but the candle range offset fixes it. Let's wait for a bearish candle that will fail our test. The fast, bro. Now we have a good number of examples. First, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bearish, far enough from the candle body. This is far enough. Remember, we are on a daily time frame, so let's just run and see how it works. Far enough, neatly drawn. You can see the distance from our reference level, which is the candlestick. That is the offset. That is what is called the offset. And remember, I'm running this program I'm testing it on step index, so you can actually test it on your own desired pair or commodity. If any changes is required, you can actually drop it in the comment section. We can do a video for that particular pair or commodity. So I believe you understood and grasped the concepts. If you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to drop it on the comment section, or will be best treated in the free Telegram group. So if you have any suggestion on a few changes for the one you want, the desired pair or commodity, you can drop it in the comment section, or it will be best treated in the free Telegram group. You will see the link to the group in the video description. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and share with other traders. Happy coding, and I will see you in the next one.